Today we'll study Mending Wall, poem by Robert Frost. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that sends the frozen ground swell under it and spills the upper boulders in the sun and makes gaps even two can pass abreast. The work of hunters is another thing. The poem starts with an observation that there is something in the nature that doesn't like walls. Something there is that doesn't love a wall. So it's an observation made by the poet, which says that there is something around in the nature that doesn't like walls. In the poem, nature acts as a third character along with the speaker and his neighbor, even though this has not been explicitly mentioned or said. The starting line refers to something which opposes creating a wall. By differentiating something from someone, the poet marks his stand that these are not humans or human beings, but things which are keeping him from building the wall. The term wall here means or presents an example of a metaphor to explain both kinds of barrier, mental as well as physical, that sends the frozen ground swell under it and spills the upper boulders in the sun. The lines present a powerful image of something which causes the cold ground under the wall to swell and burst. The ground bursts in such a way that the boulders come out spitting from within to the outside. It explains the view of the speaker that something wanted to keep the wall from being constructed is in power, and because of that the wall is crumbling from the natural action. Here we can see a beautiful use of personification of the unseen force of nature. The nature breaks the wall because it does not like it to stay there and makes gaps even two can pass abreast. The speaker further says that the crumbling of the wall due to this natural activity makes or builds gaps where the two neighbors can pass through easily. The work of hunters is another thing. I have come after them and made repair where they have left not one stone on a stone. The speaker here points out that the work of the hunters is one of or another obstacle to the wall between the two neighbors. They have caused damage to the wall during their sport and don't make or don't try to repair these damages. The speaker has to make regular repairs, as he points in these lines. I have come after them. It may be because the wall restricts the otherwise wider spread of the hunting ground, but they would have the rabbit out of hiding to please the yelping dogs. The poet continues to point out the trouble the hunters have caused. They don't even hesitate to tear down the walls to find the rabbits from their hiding to please their barking or yelping dogs. The gaps I mean, no one has seen them made or heard them made, but at spring mending time we find them there. Despite various contributing factors or causes for the wall being torn down or broken down, the fact remains that nobody knows or hears about how or when these gaps are formed, who brings these gaps or who make these gaps. But the speaker certainly discovers the gaps at the spring mending time, means when generally he wants to mend things around, he discovers these gaps at that time. And I let my neighbor know beyond the hill, and on a day we meet to walk the line and set the wall between us once again. We keep the wall between us as we go. The poet here finally mentions his neighbor. He says that he lets his neighbor across the dividing line to know about the damages so that they can be repaired, or they can repair the damages together. One day they meet to go with the whole mending business as they do it every year, because this is a yearly business. Whenever they find the gaps or damages in their wall, they yearly basis they mend their wall. The speaker here clarifies that they keep the wall in between when they do the mending job. Means the wall is always there. They never let the wall go away. Means the wall is always between them. The differences or the gaps between their understanding is always there. It is never disturbed during the damage work, during the repairs. And the poet says that though the wall is broken, there are gaps, but during the mending season they tried to build their gaps, tried to build the damage done during the whole year. It can be described both ways. The wall is just a symbol, but it can be understood in a way that the neighbors try to improve the damages that somehow have come in their nature or in their relationship, and they try to mend or improve their relationships that have somehow marred during the year, and they try to build up or try to improve the relationship that somehow has been damaged during the year. So both ways, through the wall, the poet is trying to show the relationship between the two neighbors and how they try to manage their relationship and how they try to improve their relationships by the damaging wall which they try to mend every year. Thank you.